I know you've been holding back. You feel familiar in all of the worst ways. You're double booked on Valentine's Day. I know you'll never want me back the same way that I did. That I did. I know you better than you. Here's to what's being left in the dust, and a cycle we can't break. Here's to what's being left in the dust that just can't go back that way. Oh, I'd kill to be an arsonist and burn bridges without shame. You flipped a coin, I'm second choice. Your guts on the counter while I cooked whatever you wanted, did a deja vu. Guess it didn't matter anyways. Fuck this, no one to blame but myself. You're doing exactly what I would do. Everyone's a hypocrite. I know you better than you. I know you better than you. Here's to what's being left in the dust, and a cycle we can't break. Here's to what's being left in the dust that just can't go back that way. Oh, I'd kill to be an arsonist and burn bridges without shame. You flipped a coin, I'm second choice.
We both know where this goes. I don't know what to say, but I'm feeling wide awake. creep, you get to me. You watch me every time I say that I'm asleep. You wanna be so close to me, but I keep feeling like I'm about to fucking scream. Yeah, you're a
Honestly, I'm nauseous every time you ask me if I'm fine, 'cause I know it's never honest. Everything you say is a big old lie. You're so dramatic with the way you want attention. I can't believe that we were friends, I might just mention
that you're a creep, you get to me. You watch me every time I say that I'm asleep. You wanna be so close to me, but I keep feeling like I'm about to fucking scream. Yeah, you're a
I've been drunk, I've been stoned, I've been bad to the bone. I've done everything, Lord, I've done everything.
chase women, cheap thrills, cocaine and little pills. I've done everything, Lord, I've done everything.
But I ain't never felt nothing like you in my life.
You're the most I've ever been. You're the most come on and hit me again. On my wild days and my crazy nights, you keep on lighting me up. You're burning me alive. You're the most
It's addiction, you got me hooked. It's a fever, you got me shook. I want everything. Give me everything.
You're the most I've ever been. You're the most come on and hit me again. On my wild days and my crazy nights, you keep on lighting me up. You're burning me alive. You're the most I've ever known. Maybe that's why I can't let you go. Running down my spine, shooting up my veins. Lord have mercy, I'll never be the same.
Do you ever wonder where you'd be if it wasn't for that one mistake? 'Cause life changes and I wouldn't blame you if you ran away. Never thought that I would reach 21. I just want this damage undone. I wish that I could live for fun, but my body feels frozen and my eyes keep closing. Keep closing. Good days never last. Yeah. Made a mistake that I can't take back. They say the first step is the hardest, but I'm not scared of heights, I'm just scared of falling. But I guess I'm too young to be afraid. Got my whole life ahead of me, right? At least that's what they told me. But I know it's a lie. I just wanna be okay, don't think twice. just never have another bad day in my life. Is it too much to ask for a little bit of help? Cause when your life is heaven, I'm living in hell. Living in hell.
You know that I wrote songs about love. I know you heard them cause you say I'm talking about us. At least you wish I was. And I hate to have to tell you one thing is missing till I do what you're dreaming of. One more thing until I'll write a song for you. When the sun turns black, I'll write a song for you. When the dead come back, I'll write a song for you. Once you grow up, I'll think it through. Until then, this has to do. When the whole world ends, I'll write a song for you. Write a song for you. Oh, I know for you, it's just a game about who you can blame. It's easy for you to say, I'm thinking of your name. And I hate to have to tell you, few things I'm missing till I do what you're dreaming of. One more thing until I'll write a song for you. When the sun turns black, I'll write a song for you. When the dead come back, I'll write a song for you. Once you grow up, I'll think it through. Until then, this has to do. When the whole world ends, I'll write a song for you. Write a song for you. Write a song for you. When heaven falls, I'll write a song for you. When hell goes cold, I'll write a song for you. Once you grow up, I'll think.
If I told you I was the devil's daughter, would you break the rules and still come over? I would give you everything I've known for a life with you. I would hand mine over. Feels like I'm floating with life of the dead. To be closer to you. Feels like I'm floating with life of the dead. To be closer to you.
One, two, three, Rain, talk to me. We're gonna hit a beat and talk about my Eve. Everybody, you know what I say.
God.
I'm gonna do a beat.
Make it stop.
Rain?
It's
Why?
time to stop. Why did you?
Rock, paper, scissors, right? We don't want Eve to be as simple as shut the fuck up, Seto!
Floods of like memes, and these small gangers are like, we're the elite of the elite. Do not fuck with us. We will kill you. We are the best players ever. It's like, dude, I did your shit. I did it better than you did.
You know what this conversation is like? When I say not enough super die in Dell, and people tell me, oh look, there's a super died in Dell. So it's like, when I'm
What are
talking
you
about
even
the balance
talking
issue.
about? We were talking about fucking balance, not Super's
Yeah.
dying in Delph.
Look,
Why does
look.
everything with you have to be about Super's fucking dying in
Shut
Delph?
up! Shut up!
Christ!
It's an analogy, moron. It's an analogy. Okay?
You guys stop arguing. You act like fucking married couple. Jesus
It-
No,
Christ.
don't stop arguing.
It's an
Well, it
analogy.
is Trash Talk
Man,
Tuesday.
I was like,
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, capsulers and capsulettes. Welcome to Trash Talk Tuesday. It's gonna be a quiet fucking night, team, because I had a bunch of guests in the channel, and then they all went deafened and muted because I'm pretty sure there's something happening in the area of space that our main topic comes from. So if I can, I'm gonna try to show you that while it's just me, and then we'll see who else comes in. Oh, look, we've got more Baco and we've got Ace now. Perfect.
What, you think I got something better to do?
I had to know I was serious, that I was gonna go live regardless.
true. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think anything's too exciting is happening.
Well, I'm still headed there, if I can make it. There's a lot of paladins lagging behind. If anybody's got like any fast tackle ships, there's like a few paladins, some sabers. Like,
Hold on, let me get my blops ready.
they're
I just
horde,
muted
so...
myself because everyone else was doing it, and I thought it was like the etiquette.
Oh, I found him. I found the paladins. Fuck.
It's hot dreads.
There's Hodreds.
No, get the hot dreads for the pallies.
There's a lot of them. I'm gonna warp with them. I wonder if they turn on their smart bombs and kill me. God, I hope that happens. That would be so amazing.
I mean,
Anyways,
they can't smart bomb and warp, so
oh, that is true. That is true. It is free intel. Oh, I warp much faster than they do. That's okay. U2 TAC 2. 200 paladins, by the way. Weird shit.
Ew.
I know, it's gross, right? Who's gonna fight 200 paladins? No one.
Who's
I
gonna
think
go
that's
into
the point.
nullsec?
I don't know. So anyways, welcome to Trash Talk Tuesday. Tonight's main topic is nullsec. I'm sorry that you don't like nullsec because you're gonna have to talk about it here. And it's
Well, it seems I'm the only person here to talk about it, so I'll do my best.
Hold
no,
up.
Ace is here. Don't cut him down like that. It's fine.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see someone else unmuted.
I've legit
joined.
lived in nullsec since I was born in Eve, so
That's good. I'm the same
I
way.
didn't see that you joined the chat. Nice to see you, Ace.
yes, I did. Can't wait to be an FC.
Really?
Yes.
Why don't you just
You can't
FC
wait
something
to-
then?
What?
Because
Wait, yeah,
there's this thing called tags that I need in the initiative.
Oh god, nullsec.
and I'm so good at the game that I need to wait 3 months before I can FC.
At everyone, come fleet. Boom. There you go. You just pinged a fleet. Congratulations.
Instantly gets messaged by Dark Shines. What the fuck are you doing?
Can you not go? Let's say if you had 3 or 4 of your friends, we're gonna go out and roam this way. Can you do something like that, or would you get in trouble?
Yeah, I could do that.
Well, that's a way to start. You don't want to be dropped into like a 1,000-man fleet or whatever nullsec does these days.
Yeah, but I would like to fly actual comps because I've done small gangs for like 2 years straight.
Have you FC'd small gang?
Yeah, I've FC'd low sec small gang, so
There's not much difference
then.
to
So
that. Regular thing, you know.
yeah.
I'm trying to find out where all the action is. I found like a place where like there's 50 people. Trying to see where they're going. So anyways, the main topic of the evening is obviously the declaration of war from Horde to Fire Coalition. And it's not just the declaration of war, it's an all-out declaration of extermination. Just like we had in the olden days, everybody wanted to go fight in Delve. Wow, there's a shit ton of harpies here. I wonder if any of them can tackle me. Probably not. Anyways, the Fire Coalition is pretty much up a creek without a paddle at the moment. It's kind of scary. I will show you the action shortly. I just have to find out where the action is and then get there. So once I know, you guys will be the second people to know. All right. They're not goon harpies. They are horde harpies. And if they are goon harpies, then my God, we've got some trouble a brewing.
Yeah. Who knows? The trouble might be heading down into Faith.
The trouble might be heading down into Faith, you say?
Unironically, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people here. I'm in a system with 154 people in it, which is quite a few.
That's the Keepstar Bash, right?
That's almost a whole fleet.
It is almost a whole fleet, and yes, I believe it is a Keepstar Bash. I'm gonna warp over to it, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's probably the Horde Keepstar Bash that Mr. Unlucky is streaming right now.
Oh, he's streaming that already? Damn.
Practically, yeah.
Damn. Well, whatever. That's fine. As long as somebody's streaming. That's what's important. But I'm gonna get it on here too because it's in VTech F is where it is. There's like 150 some people here, and then I also saw a couple hundred more like paladins. I'm assuming on the way.
Or like, I assume, like shooting structures.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
sounds about right.
I hear fires getting put out.
We call that extinguished where I'm from, my brother.
Well, I wanted to say something different so that, just wasn't so that I could at least say I didn't copy one thing.
Yeah.
I don't think fire was even. I don't think there's even a fire.
There's called a structure bashing here. But
yeah.
What do I know?
All right.
So wait, like there wasn't even a war?
I mean, there's practically not a war. It's just Pandemic Horde and fucking Imperium fleets just roaming around fire space, glassing the shit out of everything.
As one does, right? No, so that's essentially what's happening right now is that in fire space, things are on fire. There hasn't been a lot of push in yet, but there are some areas that have been pushed in a little bit far. We're looking at Faithabolus on the screen right now. Some people call it Faithabolus or something.
Faithabolus is the best place to live.
Faithaboli?
10 out of 10 would recommend.
So if you look down towards the southern part of Faithabolus, you'll see that there's been quite a few reinforcements happening down here. We've got a few reinforcements kind of down here towards Amincia and Detorid, and then the northwestern part of Innsmother has been reinforced just a little bit. And war has been declared for what, like 3 days? 4 days?
Maybe.
What was
it?
It
might have been a week.
Friday? Oh shit, there's an Archon tackled? Where?
Oh. There goes half a fire super fleet if it's a fire Archon.
Oh no, it is. It's a Severance Archon. Guys, I'm so sorry that you can't see what's on the screen right now. I am such a shitty streamer. Oh no.
That's half of their capital fleet gone.
There you go. I know it's scuffed, but at least you can see it, right? Oof.
Very true.
There you go. I have no OPSEC.
Alright, I'm back.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hey, welcome back, Jeremy. You stand down yet?
Did you form that one carrier? Is that
We were trying to do a doomsday trick, but we got a bad sino position was the thing. He jumped too far off. So we had to like wait for them to boat into us, then try to DD was the just bad luck.
So it didn't work.
Yeah, but we have learned. We'll take the footage.
Oh, you
It's
mean
all
like
about the memes.
like the game footage? Like you're gonna watch the tape afterwards?
It's like football.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Okay, so that is what you mean.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, so you
It's
should
a
see this
learning
on the
experience for everyone.
you should see this on the screen now. This Keepstar Bash that is now joined by shit, a billion more paladins, I guess. So only got 182 in local, and that's happening. They're killing this Keepstar. So am I to expect that there's not going to be any other groups of spaceships here, or
Which system is this in?
this is VTAC F.
All right, I need to make a note of this.
Yeah, record the timer, obviously, so that you can bring
Yes.
in an absolutely third party on this content that
No, I
everyone
just want to
needs
whore
to
on the
have.
Keepstar. I just want to whore on the Keepstar.
Hi, my name is Whiskers. So Whiskers, this is the shield timer, actually. An initial reinforcement.
Oh, damn.
They haven't even the first time they're shooting it. So obviously we've got, a boatload of paladins here, etc., etc. So what do you guys think about what's happening down here? Do you think this is a good thing or not a good thing?
Is that an open question to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Do not give a fuck.
All right.
Nullsec being nullsec. Fuck them.
Nullsec being nullsec. Okay.
It's gonna. I think it's gonna be interesting at what forms after fire, and if people who come in after fire learn from fire's mistakes and don't control 8 regions with like what 2,000, 3,000 people.
I mean, sure. But what's the problem with that?
I mean, the initiative came in, or the Imperium came in a year ago. They
Mhm.
glassed Faith and Tenerifis, and then retreated and was like, don't take Faith.
Uh-huh.
Pandemic Horde also agreed on this. Fucking Constantine was like, just gave them the finger and took Faith again. That's why this war is happening. Or, sorry, this glassing is happening.
I thought this was happening. Well, obviously, it is because, from what I can see, it's because Khan didn't want to give up Nathabalus. But like, it looks like it was all kind of backroom dealings, and Constantine doesn't feel like he actually agreed to any of this stuff. So it's hard to know who to believe with it, though. Like, which part's true?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know, but all I know is that from the very start, I was like, Fire should not own this much space. They are too small. So
Mm-hmm.
my viewpoint's kind of not neutral, but
Well, no, and for context, you're a part of the initiative, so you are a part of the groups attacking Fire Coalition from the south side, right?
yeah.
See, and then of course Horde is hitting from the north, and you're gonna meet in the middle for Renter space. Sounds super fun.
I don't know the end content of this war, and for everyone, for clarification, I do not speak for Init. I do not claim to speak for Init. I will never claim to speak for Init. I don't speak for them.
Well, you sound a whole lot like an Init speaker to me. No, I'm just kidding. I know you don't speak for Init. No one speaks for Init except for Init, and that's totally fine. The thing though, has this been frozen this whole time? It fucking has. Hold on, gang. This thing's been frozen. I've been showing you paladin shit this whole time. There you go. Have the paladins on the stream. All right. So here's the thing though, is that they own all this space, right? And the whole point is to put alliances into this space, quote unquote small alliances that deserve to grow and thrive. And from what I can tell, there were already small alliances here growing and thriving. So I'm confused as to what the difference is going to be between hordes friends growing and thriving, or Fire's friends growing and thriving? What's the difference? It's a hard question, isn't it? Because there's really not an answer. There isn't a difference. And I wish someone could confidently tell me why this isn't all bullshit. Anybody in the chat got anything for me? Can anybody tell me why Horde needs to come down here and do this? This is the VTech F Keepstar in Scalding Pass.
I don't think Horde needed to come down for this. I don't know why they're coming down for this, but I think the Imperium by itself could have taken fire.
Well, you couldn't before, so I don't know why you thought you could have now, but that's fine.
Because last time there was Horde staged. To the best of my knowledge, Horde was staged down here still. Or the BFL? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everybody's here.
No, last year. I was talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
last year.
Yeah, I don't know who came down here last year, but I know that whoever it was unsuccessful. Last night it was basically just Goons and Init versus Fire, and then I think it was just a horde sig. I don't know. But Phoenix says in the chat that Horde propped them up and did all the real fighting. Sure, I guess if you want to say that, that's fine. So I guess why couldn't the Imperium just come in and remove them? Why couldn't Init just come in and remove them? Why couldn't there be, a group of similar size that would come in and just remove them? Did it have to be the single largest alliance in the video game?
I don't think it had to be. I think Pandemic Horde coming down here just killed all the fights that would have gone on between Imperium and Fire.
Well, I don't think that there would have been any fights, because if there were fights available and it wouldn't take them. Respectfully, sorry, that was rude, but it's true.
I mean, this is TTT.
And also, when Goons were there, like, you guys literally came in to evict Fire, and you lost 2 Keepstars in your offensive war. Like, you in general, right? The royal you.
Yeah.
And Drakenhoff hits the nail on the head. Does anyone ever not punch down in Eve? Like, we had this fleet of paladins in Brave Space, 2 weeks ago, doing whatever they wanted to, just going everywhere, shooting everything. And now they're here. So I know Billy a couple weeks ago was talking about how like Jump Bridge is bad. Kind of agree. There's a lot of people here.
Was it ever discussed why everyone was dogpiling on Fire?
Well, no, this is the first show that there's been since the declaration was made. So the reason that everybody is dogpiling on Fire, and when we say everybody, of course we mean Horde and the initiative, is that there was some sort of backroom dealing that Constantine was supposed to give up Faithabilis and keep the rest of the regions, and Faithabilis was supposed to be this like new Eden of content where like small alliances could flourish and grow. But it's just gonna be rental space, isn't it? Like, I don't understand it.
So I think the plan was that Shines and Goblins had a plan to utilize the region in a certain way. And after BFL left and Initiative had retreated, Constantine kind of decided that that plan wasn't workable, and obviously that definitely upset the pair of them, I guess.
So my big thing is that Faithabolus is in the ass end of nowhere, right? Like
That's
it's
not
not.
really true. It's actually kind of like almost central to the south in a weird kind of way.
But like, if I'm a high set group, like, how do I get to Faithabolus without going through multiple other regions?
You don't.
How do you get to think that? Yeah, well, that's true with almost the entire south, though, right?
Yeah, the South is pretty spread out away from high sec systems.
Right. So I feel like with a smaller alliance, and again, I'm just saying that if this was the plan for a smaller alliance, it'd be very much quite a bit harder to actually survive out there without being a part of one of these big blocks and having those supply chains set up.
Yeah, so it is always a truth that it is easier for smaller groups to live on the edge of nullsec. It gives them significantly more escape routes. It just makes logistics easier. You have to do less diplomating to just have basic supply lines. That is a general truth of life. But that definitely doesn't stop the reality that small alliances can live in the middle or center, I guess you could say, of nullsec. Sorry.
No, but you do make a good point, though. It is really far away from near everything. But
I mean,
you look at like Outer Passage. Outer Passage is kind of way. Some people were suggesting like, why doesn't Horde just use Outer Passage just for this space since they own it? It's empty. Faithabolus is just so far from Jita, though. It's insane how far away that is. I'm gonna try to see if I can zoom in on the map here. Way down here.
red line, it's a blank screen.
I know it's a blank screen.
I mean, in the end, almost all wars in Eve are started usually over either greed or personal interactions. Every once in a while, you've got the odd one that's got a different reason, but usually those are like the number one and number two. Actually, I would say probably like working towards stability is probably, or working towards stronger geopolitical positioning is probably actually just as high. But personal interactions, especially at the leadership level, are always first and foremost the number one reason a lot of stuff happens in Eve. And I wasn't in the conversations, I wasn't in the room, so I don't know how exactly those conversations went, but it's very clear that Gobbins is not happy, and obviously he's kind of the decision maker for a large chunk of the block and the drones. And certainly initiative is, if they see an opportunity to, you know, shoot some geese, they're going to go take it, because what else are they going to do? So
Yeah, and so there were some comments in chat about the like the space being unused as well. So I'm gonna put the ADMs up here for Faithabolus here. So I mean,
Keep in mind, this is not accurate because it's after 4 days of no one really living in there.
okay. So what did it? Can you tell me what it looked like before? Like, was it
Let me see.
redder or?
So, if you look at that M2G constellation, that was all red. If you look at AZN to VVO, that was at probably at least at 3. That upper constellation near Teneriffe, we actually had just moved some people in to live there as well. So a lot of what you're seeing here, like you're seeing a lot of red here, a lot of activity, and there's even more activity before Goons came and Horde came and all that. So this is not unused space by any definition of the word unused.
Well, I think one of the big things is that it's not just that it's this region; it's the other, 7 of them. So are all of them being used the same way, or?
Pull up. So I mean, yeah, look at this. Detoroid, active defense multiplier. And some other active defense, like, you can pull this up for all the fire regions, and I can tell you, people live. I think our least populated one is probably either Wicked Creek or Scalding Pass. Probably Scalding Pass.
almost certainly those regions are very close to very close to Curse, and Great Wetlands is obviously half
Yeah.
NPC region, half dead space as well. They're close to low sec, etc. So they make it very ideal hunting ground, as neither of them is particularly resource enjoyable, or
Yeah,
high resource.
Wicked Creek has I think one or two systems above like point 0.3. It's really bad for everything. So no one really ever lived there. So I mean, hey, we can give in. There's not like you can just give up Wicked Creek. It's in the middle of all of the rest of Fire Space, so it's not like we can just give them that and be like, okay, you're not you're not fire affiliated. Live in the middle of our space. Woohoo!
Well, I guess my question would be, and I guess this is a question for Gobbins, is why is Faithabolus the ask?
I
Like,
think because nobody lived there, if I had to guess, when the original agreement was made, or I think at the time it had just been kind of fought over and like half glassed by, or
It
actually
had
I would
been
say significantly more than half, like 90% glassed by initiative
would have been
post the.
glassed like 3 times.
Yeah, initiative is it hasn't had well, I'm trying to think the last time somebody seriously lived in Faith, because throughout the core of Legacy's existence, the only place that any got like Evictus, I think it was, lived in the southern
Yeah.
3 or 4
And
I can
then
tell you that
constellations.
I was living in Faithabolus and
I
my
was
corp had blob staging.
Yeah,
I,
but like when I say that, I mean like really living in there, because we rented Faith Apples most of the existence of Test and Legacy. I think, like, I remember, was
uh,
it IGC used to live in there, and some like these are renting
yeah,
alliances
IGC
primarily.
used to live in the RHG constellation.
And I think before that, like we're talking like kids with guns and like that kind of group. Like I think it might be 10 years since somebody's like truly lived in Faith Ablis. I don't know if anybody in the like New Citadel era has
I
actually like truly lived in Faith Ablis that is not uh that one exception of Evictus and kind of that pocket at the bottom.
Yeah,
I
it's just
mean,
not good
already
space.
replaced also lived in Faith.
Yeah, absolutely. But like they didn't have keep stars. They had like maybe one Sodio or two, right? Like they don't get me wrong, they definitely live there, and I really like ARP. They're cool guys. But
um,
you know, they're a smaller group, right? And like we're talking about like the larger, more industrialized or more, I don't know how to I
Yeah.
don't know what the word I'm looking for is, like just fully developed, fully kind of
Now we look at Outer
deep
Passage.
roots.
yeah, now I'm
For
looking at Outer Passage and I see the ADMs are like green
isn't
all
it
through.
isn't Outer Passage like the renter region?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the back of the drones area. Yeah.
it probably
Yes,
actually makes more sense for people to live in Outer Passage and just Horde give them jump raider access because it's actually closer to Jita than Faith Abyss is, and it's connected to the super the
Well,
regional
Horde
highway.
is never going to let anybody live in Outer Passage because it's the only. It's kind of that back entrance access to the drone regions, and like it's one of the only two entrances to the drones that isn't a regional gate, right? So
Hey, go look up Cloud Ring for me ADMs. Go look up Cloud Ring ADMs for me real quick, Redline. I'm kind of curious.
Okay, here they are.
Wow.
They're kind of red, sir.
Except in that bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, near
That,
Fountain.
I
yeah.
mean, the reality is that red or like a red means you're mining, a orange means you're ratting, right? If a 4.5 means the system is well ratted in, and not mined, and higher than 4.5 means there's both ratting and mining generally, right?
Sure. So I think
Just
the
to
reason
properly understand what this data actually means.
yeah, so but in your opinion, looking at the two regions, like if we were to look at Outer Passage compared to Faithabolus Under Siege, which one would you say is less used?
Probably Outer Passage.
Yeah,
I would also like to
I
point
guess
out
so.
Esoteria is now free, and Goons gave Paragon Soul away to Sigma.
Yikes. Well, here's the thing, and I think this is what's going to be the most interesting
Wow,
thing about
Sigma
this.
grind set is fucking grinding away in Paragon Soul. Looks like cheapers.
Sigma Crab Set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, we're now neutral to what could possibly go wrong. So
What's Providence look like, Redline, nowadays?
And I don't even want to look at Providence.
Just click on Providence for me real quick, buddy, while
I
we're doing this
heard
segment.
I heard that Providence is experiencing an identity crisis at the moment, in the sense that everyone who lives there is trying to control the whole thing.
Yeah, look at all this unused space in Providence that people could live in. This is not a war about giving small alliances areas of the game. It's about having two Antiplex networks that can touch tips at a moment's notice to crush anyone that comes again like fire. Because
I
fire,
mean,
like,
I don't know about that. The truth of that, right? Like the reality is there's both truth and untruth to that, right? So the reality is that yeah, there's a lot of unused space in Providence, but you can't live in Providence without effectively the handshake and acceptance of whatever the main low sec group in the area
low
controlling.
socks.
Yeah, is right. Like if you don't have that, they'll just farm the shit out of you and you die.
I mean,
Um,
Fade the Boss is the same way. You need two nullsec alliances, probably three, because I don't know, to agree to not farm people in Fade the Ballas.
well, I think that was kind of the intent, though, right? Was that they would both Imperium and uh, PanFam would leave it be. I can't remember the original agreement. I wasn't privy to it, but I could have sworn it was something similar to that,
Well,
right?
hold on. Let's point out that there was no agreement. It was talked about for a few weeks, and Constantine said no. And then 6 months later, Goblins decides that he's mad about it and declares war.
Do we have like logs for that? Because the thing is that I find when one person says one thing and another person says another, it's just it's pointless to talk about it until
I
you
mean,
can get some concrete evidence.
we can use some of Gobbins' own words against him. Like he talked about that Constantine never agreed to anything. He talked about this
Okay.
was after the
Is
war within.
that this? No.
Go open up his
Okay.
cord. It's on Reddit, I think.
No, I think his little story, his
Yeah,
story time.
his like
Okay.
story. Yeah, if you look, there's never anything that says Constantine agreed to this and he backed out. There's never anything that was like, you know, I was planning on declaring war at him on the time. There's never anything about like, you know, talking to Constantine about other alternatives, which according to Constantine he was open to suggestions to, and Gobbins never responded to him. Like this is not a war about letting small gangs. This is a war about Gobbins and Darkshines meeting behind the grill at Eve Vegas,
Not the grill.
and behind the grill in Eve Vegas, and deciding that they can really carve up this last alliance as a buffer between them. Realistically speaking, like Fire occupies the place that tested. Fire is the swing vote in the next big war, and they're getting rid of it. The Fire is literally Ohio.
I don't think
Fire is literally Ohio.
I don't think Fire is Ohio, but I also don't know what they would gain from doing that. So just taking a look at the coalition map. So you got PanFam, Winterco up here. You got Imperium down here. You got B2 up here, and then you got Fire. So installing, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call it vassals. Installing vassals
zoo.
in this a zoo in this region of space literally just creates a place for both the Imperium and PanFam to farm the shit out of it. When you could have just been farming Fire this whole time.
It's like a nature reserve. They gotta protect the small gang, you know. No, I mean it's literally it's security for the long term because Fire, if Imperium wanted to throw out PanFam, they would have to go through Fire, and if PanFam wanted to go through Imperium, they'd have to go through Fire. It was the great whoever Fire sided with,
they
that was
wouldn't.
probably who was gonna. What do you mean?
Why would they have to go through Fire? Is there not like a giant Keepstar runway from point A to point B?
I'm saying that if they wanted,
space?
I'm saying if they only wanted to launch an offensive against either Imperium or PanFam, they would have to have Fire side with them.
Just go for Gemini.
Not necessarily.
Not only
you
in
mean
terms
to fight
of
with them.
Not only in terms of structures, like they'd have to fight Fire, Badoom Tisk. They would either have to fight them to the opposite side, or they would have to.
Why?
I mean,
this isn't a game of Hoi 4, Jeremy.
I mean,
you
well,
can go around. You don't have to declare war on.
Where are you going to go around
okay?
the PanFam?
You don't
where
have
are
to
you going
declare war in Switzerland. You can
Where
go
are you going
it.
to go around? Are you going to go like? Is Imperium going to do a move up to Losec to stage in PanFam space somewhere? Like, where are they going to go live in PanFam space at? They're gonna go stage it at the NPC station next to LXQ.
Well, I mean, to a degree, you do have to go through Losec, right? That's why we built the original Keepstar
Yeah.
highway, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you'd have to go through them. I think you could simply go around them.
Well, I'm also not
It'd be
talking.
less convenient, but
I'm also not talking logistically. I'm talking in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
Like fire, like if Horde came to us and was like, "Hey, you want to launch World War B3," and Fire was like, "No," they probably would not get horrifically far because we do have a lot of numbers, especially in RUTZ. Actually, we're the dominant presence in RUTZ, I would say, outside of, I don't know, whatever goons have. And they would, and if Imperium wanted to invade Horde, they probably couldn't do it without our numbers because Imperium's already kind of dying anyways. So it's a numbers game as well. Like if you wanted to evict these people, you have to get Fire on your side because you need all the help you can get in this game fighting defenders.
So Never Be Alone asks in the chat, says, so Horde is getting rid of Fire for protection against Imperium, so that way there's no buffers.
Yeah, so
What you're
it's the
saying?
numbers. It's the numbers thing, like I was talking about. If Fire is in a weakened state, neither side can make any progress because Fire is the swing vote for numbers and fleet. So we're not dying. We're being pushed out of the way, so we can't interfere and help evict Imperium or help evict Horde.
Well, I think that what's happening is that Gobbins wants to destroy your entire coalition.
He's yes, Villy. Like Villy said, he's launching a war of extermination.
And it's completely personal as well. Some people were mad that this is the kind of war we were getting, but this is the kind of war we need, is the personal kind. I do need to know who this screenshot came from. They have 865 notifications. Please click it. Please. But basically, so what Gobbin says, as far as like his reasons for coming out, is because of these, these backroom meetings that they had. So, first up, in August 22, Horde deployed to defend Fireco against the Imperium. From what I've heard about this, is that Horde literally had to take over Fireco, like structures and defense and all that kind of stuff, to make sure that the defense was successful. Is that correct?
So we did the same thing in Delve as we had Pappy 1. Pappy 1 was a corp. We had it in Delve. It got moved to XIX, and it was literally a holder corp for Sino jammers and things like that. And Keep Stars, where coalition assets would be housed, was under Pappy 1. So anyone could have an alt in Pappy 1 and turn on Sino jammers or gun a structure, and kind of it kept everyone, what's the word, honest. People could see what was going on. There's no threat of somebody just randomly transferring a structure out, right? So
So
that's what Pappy 1 was for.
So, Jeremy, you could say that Pappy was always a thing.
No,
Well,
so
Pappy
he's just setting the stage because he's going to answer the question now, right?
So in terms of them having to like take care of structures for us, this was when I'm gonna bring real life into this. It was when the war in Russia, the Ukraine war, had just kicked off. A lot of the people that we were fueling, I know, personally speaking, a few members whose identities I will not disclose had to go get drafted and go fight a war when we didn't have the people, the Russians who had been taking care of these structures, because a lot of them couldn't afford the subscription after the hike. A lot of them didn't have access to the outside world. A lot of them didn't have the ability to be at a computer a lot like they did before. So it was just a matter of real life events intersecting with Eve. And now, granted, we didn't pick up the slack as much as we should have on some occasions, and that's something that we were really critical about ourselves on, is that occasionally we were not stepping up in for the Russians to fill their spot. I personally think that I could have done more, and but that's in the past, right? Um, but so there were some real life mitigating circumstances which caused some of our structures to need extra help. Sometimes we couldn't have an FC show up because we were busy or not available. We still have translators. We still have FCs not available because they're dealing with real life issues because of this. So
Okay. So what about the Fire Co-alliances demanding a greater share of looted cores? Constantine promising some Dread SRP to Johnny and never delivering.
I
Severance FC's calling Sacco pussy.
the
General lack of coordination, lack of infrastructure, lack of willingness to commit their supers.
So let's
That is
break this
true.
down into articles. Article 1. Fire
That
Co
what we're
Alliance is
doing?
demanding. Yeah, so I mean, we can't. These are all different allegations, right? So you have to break them down into
Sure.
different
Okay.
arguments. So Fire Co Alliance is demanding a greater share of the looted cores. Well, if you notice, unlike PanFam, which has like 5 alliances, NCPL, NCPL and Horde,
3.
and I guess Recon. Well, no, Recon's dead now. So
Nice.
Slice 4. That's
Uh-huh.
4. I guess maybe 5 if you count Fancy Pants. Okay, that's 5, right? Fire Coalition has like 20 to 30.
Okay.
So you have a lot of miscommunication, a lot of people feeling get left out because this other person got a core or whatever, right? Well, we need core for our alliances because we're being attacked the most. And again, we were the ones losing structures. It wasn't Horde losing structures. So I feel so we did ask for more cores because we were the ones losing structures. We had more alliances, and we had less of an economic base, which we will get to later. Uh, Constantly promising Dread SRP. I cannot speak to that. I do not have any information about that. Severance FC calling Sec a pussy when he wouldn't question that out. Again, I won't address that because that involves drama between somebody else in the coalition and Securitas, and I think if it was a
Okay, so those are the
problem.
only things then.
No,
And
no, no. There's
so
more stuff. There's more stuff.
not
Lack of
really.
coordination, lack of infrastructure, and lack of
All you
the
can do
supers.
is say, "Oh, bullshit. That's not true." You
I
can't
mean, well,
really.
no, there's some things we could have improved on. Anyways, so if that was a problem, I think that the right thing to have done would not to have been kind of harbor it. It would have been to express these doubts to Sandrin or to Constantine or to Taphos, and I think that they would have resolved that situation. I was never made aware of any situation.
Well, this was
Uh,
in July, so
yeah, that's true. So, anyways,
this war has already been said and done at this point.
yeah, yeah.
And then so next up, let's see. So there's a message to Merc, something. So basically Constantine. Is it Constantine or Constantine? I'm just gonna say
Constantine, or I call him Big K.
Constantine. I'm just gonna call him Khan. So
Genghis Khan.
there were some personal pings against Darkshines. Um, and
There was nothing. We weren't like pinging. Hey, this is Darkshine's like work schedule and
sure,
real life address.
yeah,
It
you were
was
pinging at a small dick or
we. I
something
don't.
along the lines. Someone
We.
said he had a small dick.
That was meant in the sense that he was being cowardly. It was a
Really?
idiotic expression. It was not. It
Okay.
was not meant to insult his literal penis size. It was an idiot.
Okay.
It was an
So,
expression meant
but
to
you
express
said it.
cowardice.
Someone said it. Um,
I think so. I cannot recall the specific incident or ping where he said
that's
that.
okay. That's fine.
And there's also a chance that this is a Russian mistranslation, as some
Yes.
phrases in Russian which are unoffensive in the mother tongue will be translated into offensive phrases in English.
Uh-huh.
That's just the nature of translation, and I don't think there's any personal attack, like truly personal attacks meant on Darkshine's physical character.
So I feel like saying someone has a small dick, especially in a game like EVE Online, really isn't that bad. Like, I don't know.
That's
I
not
feel
the
like that's
point.
really not that offensive. It's like what you do if
You
someone
sound
made
really
fun of
robot-y,
you
by
on the
the way,
internet.
and I can hear
I'm
myself in the
pretty sure
background.
anything they've said to Initiative about 10 times worse has been said to me by them. So I don't really
Said
know if I'm gonna flip on fly. To be fair.
okay. Time out here. Said by initiative to you, Villy.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want it was on your articles were unclear. I want to make sure.
Are you writing this all down?
I'm practicing for law school red line.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So, anyways, when that war started, right? So they had to put in 3 different alt corps into Fire Co alliances
Mhm.
so that they could manage their own structures, Sinojammers, and do Entosis. They had to anchor their
Uh,
own Keepstar and have some of the existing Keepstar transfer to them. And at that point, the infrastructure was basically being fully run by them so that the deployment could
So,
happen. True or false?
neither. Yes.
Sir?
Uh,
Sir? You're practicing for law school. I need you to understand that true or false means true or false.
I would like, for Your Honor, I would like for the instructions to my client to be that he can answer the question in the most truthful way possible.
Answer the
Anyways,
question in the most truthful way possible, Jeremy.
so, like we talked about earlier, a lot of these alliances are. I know Patriots. This was an issue I think with one of their keep stars or jammers. And several of the Fire Corp keep stars. And essentially, again, a lot of this boils down to real life war. People physically could not be on to transfer these structures. I know people in Germany were having, of course, they're having their power issues and their issues, because of those pipelines being cut. So we had some problems with the German corps being able to access the internet. We had some of the corps from South Africa. Some of them, I know a few of our guys are from South Africa in command. They were undergoing load sharing, so they were out of power for significant times. Again, so a lot of real life issues conflating with this. And BFL is a predominantly European and American corporation, and some Canadians. They are not Eastern Europe. They're not, South African. They're not what fire is. They live in a different part of the world. They do not experience the same things that fire does. So a lot of this did happen. A lot of this, um, some of this is being exaggerated, and a lot of this is by issues of real life. Uh, and again, if BFL was going to, 1 second.
While Jeremy reads his cue cards, I'm gonna skip to the next part.
Yeah, sorry.
So the war ended with a win, and then out of the negotiations emerged the discussion about the health of the game and what could be done with
All
some
right,
of the
sorry.
border regions
I
between
wanted to point
Fire and
out as
Imperium.
well.
It's
Uh,
okay.
Right,
It's okay. I just
so
wanted true or false.
helping another ally in an off time zone war has never been a reason to invade them.
No,
Pan
it hasn't.
Fam, Pan Fam. I want you. This war, it was initiated because Pan Fam was harassing at the time RMC was harassing RMC out of the T2 Fortizar. We got terms from Imperium that was like, don't let Horde anchor structures in your space anymore and kick them out of the ones that are in your space, and we'll leave you alone. This entire war started because BFL wanted content and got us invaded. And now they're invading us because they got us invaded and then got mad that they were helping us in the war we got because they were invading somebody else through our space.
Now, Jeremy, I have a question for you. Were we not? Because I was in fire at this time. Were we not kicking in RMC into Esoteria only?
There was never any major engagements in Esoteria. It was
That is
all
false. I
it
remember them quite clearly because I was in them.
This might have been before I was in fire, but
No, it wasn't.
as I recall, there were no actual strategic object. Like it was the BFL Anceplex strategy in Esoteria. I mean, I remember talking to Johnny and Securitas about this. They were never intending to evict RMC. It was the BFL. It's like what they're doing in Pure Blind. They're not shooting anything super strategic. They're baiting out fights and winning because that's what they're good at doing.
So you're saying we didn't evict RMC from Impasse into Esoteria?
That
Because we
was
did.
that was test. That was test.
No, it wasn't. Test came down to help. We were doing it already. What are
Okay.
you on?
You said Esoteria. You did not say impasse. You specified Esoteria.
Okay. I got lost in the sauce for a second there. So let me I want to make sure that I understood what you said about what caused this. Sorry, we can go back to what you were saying in a second. I just want to make sure that I understand. So I've got a paint window up on the screen here that I
Yeah.
want to look at. And it's
It's a black
well,
screen on the
it
stream.
is a black screen. I haven't drawn anything on it,
Okay.
obviously, but it's also fucked up for some reason. So I'm gonna go back to this. And that should work. Okay. So let me just make sure that I got this straight. So Fire Coalition, we're gonna signify you with a little red circle. So hold on, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna signify fire with a little circle here. So here's fire, all happy, doing their thing. Yay, I'm fire, right? Pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Shut up, Daniel. No one cares what Brisk does. Brisk doesn't even stream unless he feels like it. Old man shit. Just quit, bro. All right. Anyways, you got fire here, and you
Yeah.
got pandemic horde. We're gonna signify
Mhm.
them with orange, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're here, like, hey, fire. Can we like use your space for hood rat stuff? Can we do like bad shit in your space? And
So to
you,
clarify, who's Ace Spartacus? I don't remember your name.
That's
Atoria.
I am Atoria.
Yeah,
it's Ace
Atoria.
Spartacus.
Yeah, Atoria. So Horde and Test on them had undeployed after the impasse eviction. BFL had asked to stay in T2 and continue harassing. That's just a clarification. Yes, go on.
Okay, so we got BFL, right?
Mhm.
And we got PL. They're here. They're
Mhm.
like, hey, can we stick around? And you guys give them the green check.
Yep. We
Think,
say
sure,
you can
do
keep
your
the
thing.
T2 order.
Do your thing, right? And then goons come along. Now they're gonna be a little bit bigger because they're goons.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna give them wings
Because they're bees and they can
because they're
fly.
bees.
Yes.
And then they say, hey, get those dudes right there. Get them out of here, right?
Yes.
And then you're like, what? What's the face you made?
We make the come and get it face essentially from 300.
Oh,
When
so
he
not the
refuses to.
spooky face?
We make the we
No,
form this
because
shield
I
wall.
think you made the no, help us face, which is the face that I drew on the screen.
We formed the shield wall and defended
No. I'm
defended the
pretty
rock
sure.
pass with BFL and BL.
I'm pretty sure that you made the no, help us face that everyone can see on the screen here.
Constantine took off
Actually,
his shirt and was walking around his home and
guys,
saying,
is this the stream content everyone wants? I just
"Okay,
have to know. Okay,
for narrative purposes, I will agree with your statement, Redline."
and then so Fire's like, we're gonna die. Please save us. And then Haunting Deity is like, I'm gonna save your coalition. We're gonna
Yeah,
put
haunting
Haunting
deity.
Deity over here. He's down.
Make sure
He's
he's
gonna
got
be
a
down
big D.
here. Boom.
He's the big D.
Boom. 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 There's Haunting Deity, the Giga Chad right here.
Yeah, and he comes and saves our coalition single-handedly.
Single-handedly.
That sounds like something he would do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so, and keep in mind, this wasn't like a 1 or 2 time. This was a three-peat. This was a hat trick.
What do you mean this was a hat trick?
So Init alone deployed at first, and they got beat by us and BFL. Then it was Init and Goons that deployed SIGs, and they got beat back by us and BFL. And then they deployed main forces of both Init and Goons, and that's when main Horde came down. So we hat tricked them.
And then RC came and swung the tide.
Who?
RC, stop it.
RC was not involved in this war at all. I think they might have shot structures while we were fighting. That's about their extent. And that was fire structures, so.
Okay. And so Haunting Deity comes down to save your coalition.
Yes.
And then the goons are like,
Buzz, 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 I'm flying away.
No, they're not flying away.
Oh,
They're
that's true.
coming in, bro. They're here. They're
They're
here.
here.
They're gonna fight. And then Horde is like, hold on, I'll finish here shortly. I'll finish
Yeah,
soon. I
it was a
promise.
sorry, yeah, it wasn't technically an alliance deployment. It was a SIG deployment that you were automatically put into when you joined the alliance. Oh, and
All right.
Dracarius was there as well.
Okay, sure. I don't.
It
What
doesn't matter. There can be a
look?
generic B number 5
Pink. On whose side?
on Goon side. Dracarius joins Goon side. They're appearing maligned.
Little fucking
And of course,
baby.
RMC
Little
was on the
babies.
Goon
Whatever.
side.
It's fine. Okay.
That's all. That's all the pets.
And then Dan says that there were robots involved, so I should draw a robot.
That's Dracarius. Dracarius is the robots. So the pink baby can be RMC, and the robot can be Dracarius.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna draw the robot anyways, because I kind of want to draw the robot.
Make sure we post this on Reddit, by the way, so people get an accurate understanding of the war once this is all done.
Why
Yeah,
is
Brett
it? Why is Dracarius the robot? I'm kind of curious.
You know.
Because they might be notorious botters. Who knows? I don't know. But of course, as Dan points out, is that there are bots everywhere, so I must also draw the robot on the other side. You might think it's a different robot, but it's the same robot, and it always will be the same robot. So
Botters play both sides. They're not
just
loyal.
remember that with botters are bad everywhere. All right. Anyways, so what happens next is that this side they go, and then this side does the same thing. They do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can see everything happening. And these guys on the left win, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So but this whole thing is you're saying this was caused by BFL and PL wanting to use the space here.
Yes, so BFL and PL had a fort in T2 TAC. They once we had done with the impasse campaign, they had asked us if they could stay in that T2 Fortizar and continue to shoot in Esoteria. So we obliged them. We actually obliged them to the point of not taking the goons' offer to go and not have a war. We fought a war with them and in some instances for them so they could have content. We could have pretty easily said, "Hey BFL, get out of here." And
Is that really how it was going, or was there ground kind of being lost and traded back and forth a bit between Impasse and Faith and even Tenerifis at the time?
there was a little bit of trading there, but it was just some skirmishing. It wasn't like a full blown out war.
Full-blown war rarely starts as promptly as this one has.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean this one came on quick.
Usually it kind of comes out of nowhere more than anything, right?
Yeah. But so there were some border skirmishes happening at the time. You're correct, really, and BFL had asked to stay and participate in those.
Well, when you say asked, did they ask or said? That seems like it seems an odd thing to imply that BFL sat and asked permission to shoot people.
They were given permission either directly or indirect. But we did at one point
Sure.
again receive an offer from goons to say, "Hey, just let us kill BFL, and you can go home in peace."
Sure. I'm just. I don't know if the record would reflect that BFL asked permission, even if it was given.
They had squatters' rights.
Well, I think they had prominent powers, right? So it might
Yeah.
be a better way to say it.
Because what were you gonna?
So we were being strong armed into this.
Pick a war with the Horde kind of thing, yeah. So
Yeah. So actually, we got strong armed into this. Thanks, Philly.
I don't know if I'd go that far either.
We were coerced into giving our consent for BFO to stay.
Come on, man.
He says after saying, "Yeah, we gave them consent. We
Well,
fought a war for them."
you know what? I was trying to be charitable to BFL, but if the facts are the facts, and they deserve to be known. But
No.
Sure.
So all that's to say is that now what's happening you believe is a result of that initial like y'all letting them stay there
This
and doing everything.
They would have never had these encounters or these experience had they either, again, I'll just say we let them live, we let them be there, we tactfully gave them permission to engage in these skirmishes. And these experiences would have never transpired had had we not let them stay, essentially.
Well, I guess so. So what about these other? I'm gonna switch it back to the pings and stuff. Give me a second. Let me switch it back to that. There we go. Oh, wrong one. Ah. So this is another one of the stories from Gobbins. So hold up, this is the one before. Okay, and then here's the quest to Khan, in September, for the Faith Plan. Uh, so he wants to see it happen. Thinks the region's way too far and overextended. Wanted to keep some border stuff. What did you have in mind? Blah 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 blah. Just all this stuff. I guess this is all what Gobbins is
Mhm.
saying to Khan.
Yeah.
Like here's what I think is work well.
And this is not the
Um,
full context, but this is
sure.
this
I
is
mean,
generally.
what's missing? Is it
I mean,
relevant?
there are some discussions about other regions which would have been better. But it's not really super important. It doesn't want to change the facts of the case. I
Okay.
don't think.
So it's unnecessary context.
Yeah.
Like, got it. And then so now Goblin says that that Khan spends 2 weeks acting like he's okay with this happening. And then once he saw Imperium was far gone, I don't know what that means by it. What does that mean by that? Like that
Probably
they
once they had
were
undeployed.
gotcha.
Yeah, so I think Goblin's point there is once Imperium's gone, there's no threat from them, and then once BFL leaves, there's no military presence in that area.
To keep the DMZ.
Gotcha. And so basically they just jump in and take Fabulous. Like they did.
Well, there was no. Again, he thought 2 weeks is like, Constantine. Um, I think actually, some point during this, we actually were kicking Keka out, and Constantine was moving houses. So that's probably part of the reason why it took him 2 weeks to figure this out. Was he was moving houses and like having to hunt down Chaser One essentially. But so Constantine was probably like, yeah, I'll think about it. It sounds like a good idea. And he got on Dotland, right? And he opened up Dotland and he looked at Faye the Boss and he went, no one is going to want to live here. What are you talking about, Goblins? And said no.
Well, and then so after that, this is when Gobbins presents his failed negotiations to apparently his friends in it.
They met at
Um,
the.
yeah, for that. And then he talks about how everybody hates him. Like everybody hates Khan and working with everybody in fire. Uh, I don't really know. I don't think you guys are that bad. I don't think Constance is that bad. I don't think Tafos is bad. I think everybody's fine. Just
I don't think I've ever heard a complaint about Taphos. I mean, people can have personality disagreements, and it's not like, I mean, it's not like we didn't have other FCs or other people to talk to, right? I mean,
yeah,
and there were a lot of like no name like individual like in every alliance there are no name paper pushers who want to ask like they're bigger than they are, and that's probably caused a lot of this, which is paper pushers.
yeah.
But no, so Taphos was always very level headed. I'm me. I'm Jeremy. Hi, how are you? There's nothing much else you can say about that. Constantine has always been a little bit skittish. We talked about him not wanting to deploy supers earlier. He's always because it's very hard for fire because in fire there is no centralized SRP. Every alliance has their own individual SRP. So if we take a big fight like that, it can be very hard for individual alliances to replace their memberships. And that's kind of why he's a little bit skittish. He's really looking out for these smaller alliances and making sure everyone can afford to continue to play the game and live in their space. And people have a problem with that, and that's fine. That is a good topic to have a conversation about. Before you evict someone, I would say is what are the small alliances doing? Um, Arcadios and Armand, they are very big personality types. They're very type A, causes a lot of conflict with causes a lot of conflict with other people. Alpha personality conflicts don't work. I mean, second Johnny are very much like alpha dog personalities, so sometimes that kind of grated on them. Just happens. I think that there's improvements that could have been made that both sides were unwilling to acquiesce to. But
So,
so
so what you're saying is that Constantine is a man of the people, and he's looking out for the smaller alliances.
I mean, yeah, if you ever listen to our sodas during the big war, he always talks about if your alliance can't afford SRP, come and talk to me. We will SRP your ships. If your alliance is having trouble with infrastructure or something like that, we'll come and we'll help you. Like Constantine was always talking in every soda about we are here to help the small alliances. And the larger alliances were asked to chip in to help give money to the smaller alliances. Actually, at one point, and granted, there were some negotiations about now how much should these larger alliances give in, but there was massive support for these smaller alliances for a lot of them what was their first big nullsec war. And that caused a lot of conflict because a lot of these people were learning how to do stuff for the first time. We go back to infrastructure and structures. A lot of these nullsec alliances, I'm thinking Figgle. I think this was their first big nullsec war. We had new leadership in a lot of these corporations as well. These older corporations learning how to do stuff. So that caused a lot of infrastructure issues, a lot of conflict, like we said, and that's a contributing factor. And Goon and Horde is not people in Horde are not used to having to teach people. I would almost say it like that.
That
In Horde,
seems like
everything
one
runs.
of the silliest things I've ever heard
Yeah,
you say.
no. Let me explain. In terms of like structure management, because everything in Horde is so centralized. When you do something in Horde, there is a perfect chain of people that's well documented, and every step is written down somewhere for them to do. Fire has not had that experience or that ability, and that caused a lot of that conflict. Was that we were not a centralized entity, which had this idea of what to do for in a lot of these alliances.
So is Fire even a coalition?
Yeah, it's a loose confederation of small independent well, not necessarily small, but of independent alliances. It's never been a coalition. It's always been a confederation. Alliances do not have a shared SRP fund. That's what I was talking about. They do not have a shared SRP fund. We were giving them money from the larger alliances. We were bankrolling their individual SRP funds. We were bankrolling their individual SRP funds during the war when they were losing a lot of ships and couldn't put up the tax funds to pay for their own ships.
Well, it does sound like a shared SRP fund. Ryan has a point. That's okay. And then so we do end this story though with him basically saying that Discord chats and one Eve Vegas later, they built up enough. He says consensus, but I think he's meant courage to make it happen.
I mean, what consensus do you need? Goblin says yes. Darkshine says yes. It happens. There's not like it's not like there's like a board of trustees of Eve where they get together for a meeting and they all have like little suits and Goblins got up and said, I wish to I don't know why I'm giving Goblins an accent. I wish to invade fire.
Don't.
And everyone in the board meeting has to like vote. It's like two people he has to convince. Maybe Asher.
Well, and that's kind of the thing is that everybody's talking about like how Fire pissed everybody off, da 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 da. But in reality, it was just one guy pissed off two guys, or one guy pissed off another guy, and then that other guy went behind his back for like 6 months, trying to get these other people to attack him, and it finally worked. That's what it sounds like happened.
Goblins was mad that Constantine said his plan was stupid, so he went and got his brother, and now they're holding Fire's arms behind their back and punching him in the face and go, "Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?"
I mean, That is kind of a fair point. So I mean, realistically, if this is all the cause of the war, you really did just hit yourselves by not
Yeah.
giving up faith.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when this war started, Constantine attempted diplomatic negotiations. He was willing to concede space. That again, look at Phaedabalis. Why would you put a new alliance in Phaedabalis? It doesn't make any sense. No one lives there. Really, even so that no one wants to live there. No one can live there.
Way down
You put them
here.
in.
What I
You,
said at all. I said no
yeah,
one lived there, not that no one could live there.
that's true. No one
Well,
can live there except being affiliated with a larger block that has connections to the outside, essentially.
well, and I think that's
Especially
kind
now
of
with
the
the
thing,
recent
isn't it?
changes.
Is that the point is to bring people in that are, affiliated, and then work with them to help them grow and keep them subservient, and then farm them later. And that's the
Yeah.
idea. And you can do that in any region.
Sustainable farming.
But I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to live in Faith Abyss, especially not a new alliance. I would not want to live I wouldn't want to live close to the Imperium at all. I would want to live as far away from the Imperium as I possibly could.
I think that if this negotiation, if Goblins was like, listen, we're just gonna strong arm you into doing something. Give us Scalding Pass, give us Amencia, right? Give us, I think Constantine was probably very open to giving up, let's say, Amencia. That would be a very good region. Maybe Scalding Pass, they would be good
Catch.
regions. Catch. I don't think we own Catch. I don't think we have anything in Catch.
One P-TAC.
We have one. We have zoom in. If you zoom in on Catch, Redline, please. Stop changing before I'm done, Redline. No, on the Sob influence map. Go
Oh,
back to the Sob influence map.
Christ. Spare me.
It's a TCU. It doesn't matter. I was just saying.
Yeah, so look at Scalding Pass, or look at Catch right now, I should say. Like, there's no one really living in there.
Yeah, it's a
It's like,
wrecking crew, so.
yeah.
Was
Why don't we go evict Wrecking Crew, and because that would be actual good space, and they're basically already dead anyways.
That's kind of where the personal comes into this, this personal grudge kind of thing, where it kind of looks like, Gobbins is doing all this because Constant distant Cheerios and didn't want to play ball. And I mean, the guy's been around long enough that he knows you have to play ball when you are like, what, 1/5 of the size of the people who want to come fight you.
Yeah. I mean,
Or tried to help you.
Constantine was open to negotiate. He was open to suggestions. He did not want to give up faith because at that time, again, we had already people living there, and it was not a good location for starting alliances. And he attempted to talk to Goblins. He's trying to like, hey, let's see what's
So,
up.
real quick, there isn't a good question in chat that I don't want to ignore. So, you keep saying no one wants to live there. So, why did Fire keep taking it?
Because no one was living there. We just kept going and didn't look back.
Jeremy,
So, that's
I'm
kind of
gonna
the
join
thing.
here because I need to point out that you're fucking lying. You're saying that people Fire live there. All right, there was nobody fucking living there. Faith had been glassed back and forth 4 fucking times within the span of 3 months. There was nothing in fucking Faith.
People kept
That region
going
was
back.
a fucking desolate wasteland. There was jack shit there.
People kept
Constantine just wanted his fucking RMT renter space, okay? He just wanted his land to set up Moonpire and his boys. Be real about it.
Yeah,
Well,
Moonpire.
what's Gobbins want?
At this point, fuck if I know.
Do you think these small and growing alliances are gonna live there for free?
Fuck
wants
if
the
I
same
know. Fuck
fucking
if I
thing.
care. The fuck if I care. But like, let's stop lying,
Well, you
okay? Stop fucking
can't
coping.
say fuck if I care if you're gonna demonize someone for wanting a renter empire, and then
I'm not
praise
demonizing
another
him.
one. You
I'm not
did.
demonizing him.
You said he just wants his RMT and renting empire. That's what you said.
All right, but here's the thing. Jeremy is out here saying, "Oh, we're just fucking protecting." Dude, you guys are just renting out the space, same as every
Jeremy's a
other group.
brainlet, isn't he?
I literally
Yeah.
lived there. I don't know if you realize this. My corporation lived there. We did not pay rent. We had a lot of not rent pay. Like, people were living there.
Corporation was in XIX. Of
Yeah.
course you don't fucking pay rent.
Jeremy,
And you
Jeremy,
living
are
there
you?
was in an Astor house.
We had a
block
Fortizar. We had two Fortizars.
No, you fucking didn't. The only Fortizars down
no.
there was the Panhort PH1. The only
Hold on.
Fortizar left in
Hold-
Faith was the PH1 and
Hold on,
303.
there was actually a Fortizar there. There was actually a Fortizar there. It was
It's
in
no longer there, but it was.
was.
Talicus, by the way, that's the new ship, Tally X Atticus.
And you guys
No. Don't talk
be
to me.
farming
No.
in Esoteria RMC.
We
Living there is ratting and mining and doing stuff.
no, I was listen, I can show you the ticks from my corporation. We were full on living there. I can show you the ADMs. People were full on living there, dude.
Then why the fuck aren't people living in Smother? Why aren't people living in Detroit? Why aren't people living in Wicked Creek?
They
Skeleton
are.
Pass.
They are.
No,
Actually,
they
Squatting, they
aren't.
don't live that much in Squatting Pass or Wicked Creek because they get turbo blopsed by Chinese like Giga Chads.
Well, and realistically
And
though,
Wicked Creek is absolutely dog crap space. It's just in the middle of everything else and is really inconvenient to get through. That Wicked Creek could be deleted from the game, and that would be an improvement to society. Anyways,
I
continue.
mean, if fire doesn't just completely die, would they not just come back in and take back the region?
Are you saying we could relight the fire red line?
No, I'm not saying that because that'd be cringe. But I am saying, couldn't you just come back and
Yeah,
take the space again?
I mean, yeah, there's nothing stopping us. What are they? What unless Horde and goons put a bunch of iHubs down and install antiplexes and structures, which they might, they gotta
Well, no,
go
because the
clean up the
small
zoo.
alliances are going to be there and growing.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think. Goblins have already said that they want to take space. Like he's already said we're gonna take some floodplains, quote unquote. Like that was in his ping. He talked about how he was going to take space.
Yeah, so Horde did say that they wanted to take some floodplain space. Now, frankly, I don't think PanFam needs more space. I don't think Winterco needs more space. I definitely don't think Goons need more space. And I
This
do
is a
think
weird
that
question when me and Wildstar are on the same page here.
I don't know, but you know what the thing is that all of these alliances, all of these coalitions are doing the same exact thing, right? And I'm gonna get on a little soapbox for just a minute. But all of these alliances, all of these coalitions, they have systems, they have constellations, some of them have entire regions that are barely fucking touched by anything. Whether that's a ratter, that's a miner, there's no one in the systems, there never is, and there never will be. But they hold this space because they have 30,000 people that they can hold it with. Is that a problem? Or is it just a problem when fire does it?
I think you're not necessarily understanding the geographical way things work
No?
correct there. Even in the real world, many countries hold large swaths of land that they don't use just so that they can properly utilize the geographical understanding or implications of that
Difference.
area, right?
I mean, I guess, but
When you look at like Teniferous or Phaedabalus, like Phaedabalus has 2 points where it connects to other places, like 3, I think, and they're all highly defensible positions.
I mean,
That's why
clearly they're not.
I mean, well, when you're being, we didn't want a 2-front war, We
Hey,
can't really.
Wally.
Hey.
well, you've got one.
It's
No,
been
we got
quite a
2.
while.
You have two front wars? No,
No, we
but
have 2 fronts.
so explain to me. So geographically, I mean, so you're basically saying that PanFam is holding the drone lands because they're blocked in, behind the few regional gates. Winter Coalition's holding this area, fighting for this area because it's blocked in by this group of regional gates. Goons and it hold this area because it's blocked in by these regional gates. Is that the kind of stuff you're talking about, Billy?
Geography determines a lot of the strategic implications of areas, right?
Sure.
I don't think that's contested.
No. No, it's certainly not. So I guess the question would be, would there be any I guess feasible map of the galaxy where these big blocks weren't covering these entire regional areas?
Would there be
Like,
well, I mean, the South to a degree is that, right?
yeah, I guess kind of. So if you look here, you've got Innsmother, Scalding Pass, Wicked Creek, Netterid, kind of, and then
Bring up the
Amincia,
alliance map real quick. Actually,
all
Red
through
Line.
there. All right, give me.
That was a better demonstration of the.
See, you say that, but it's not like because I know
It's
what
still
you're
a
trying
coalition.
to. I know what you're trying to get at because I know that on that map, it's gonna have it has a shit ton of alliances, and they're small alliances. Like I get it.
The whole thing about fire is you could come and you could be independent. You could be part of a confederation of people who protect each other, but do your own thing, have your own rules, your own SRP, and you could be part of a confederation where you have Constantine, who's like first among equals essentially. That's like his position. He's not supreme dictator Gobbins, or voice of the people.
It's not.
You're
Astro.
not really independent though, right?
Let's be clear. Constantine was the leader of Fire Coalition.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
the
think-
leader. He's the leader.
Okay. And so the first among equals and everybody can do whatever they want is not correct.
I mean, what happened to Black Rose?
Well,
also,
Black Rose.
Look at Omist when Out of the Blue moved in there and fire evicted them immediately.
It's what happens when you attack
Alright.
another alliance, dude. You get
There's your alliance bubbles, I guess.
Since they took the space from Army of Mango Alliance when they moved into Omis, they didn't actually attack fire.
Redline, can you get the version that
It's
shows the
just
iHubs
empty, yeah.
actually? Can you get the version that shows the iHubs? Is that the one that shows the iHubs?
I don't know.
You can be independent,
Change
but
the
not like that.
URL from influence to landlord.png.
Yeah, because that one will be much better, I think.
Not really. Okay,
Well, I
so
mean,
this
iHubs are what matters.
this
that
is what
shows
we
a
want
much
to
more
see.
accurate.
So basically, you guys want to look at it this way, where Legion of Death a shit ton of the space, right?
Because that's actually accurate. Because there are TCUs don't actually mean anything. There are still, I think there's still fucking NC TCUs down in Faith or Tenny.
We had an Odin's Call TCU for a while, actually, in one of the systems.
Yeah, TCUs don't actually mean anything. The iHubs actually show much more accurately what's going on.
That's Synergy of Steel, by the way. That's that big dark, like, kind of like blackhead looking thing on fire.
I'm counting 13 regions for PandaFam. How many
sounds
for
right.
how many for
Oh,
fire?
6. Oh, it increases every time we count. I think we're up to 14 now. We're gonna hit Delve by
14?
Christmas.
Okay, so obviously you have more space.
No, I was joking. They have 1.
Actually,
2,
combining Frat
3,
with PanFam
4,
though.
5.
Kind of cringe, right?
We have
Big
7
family.
regions.
Okay, so
We have
we're
7
looking.
regions.
So Jeremy wants to see it this way, where you can see all the different alliances that quote unquote own the space, and the other folks want to see it this way, where you can see that it's Legion of Exdeath that owns a lot of this space, and is the landlord of said space.
Well, I mean, realistically, what would happen, say, if a fire alliance wanted to leave fire? They wouldn't be able to keep that space, right?
They wouldn't keep it. They wouldn't be able to keep it, obviously. But
Because they're
it
not
has-
really independent.
Yeah, they're part of a confederation. I mean, it's not. You have to abide by.
Coalition.
Yeah, it's a. Well,
So they're not really small independent alliances if they can't leave.
They are
and keep
small
their space.
alliances which have banded together to form the Greater Fire Coalition. And we've had people leave fire, and it's not like we just like hunt them down or whatever. We're like, okay, if you want to unanchor your structures, if you want to jump your caps out, we'll let you do all that. It's not like the people leave.
What if they want to just
They're
reset
so
you,
independent
but-
that you can let them leave.
What if they just want to live in the space they already live in?
I mean, they can do that, and I don't think we ever. I don't know of a situation that has happened. I do not believe we have encountered that before. I don't know what the circumstances or how he would handle that would be. That would be on a case by case basis.
So they're too scared to leave. Got it.
They don't want to leave. It's a good life here.
They're just too scared to leave.
too scared to
It's
wanna
the
say
Hotel California. You can check out, but you can never leave.
But like, that's the thing though. If they live in space that is owned by an X-Death iHub, but the structures are theirs, if they don't want to be part of Fire anymore, they have to move out.
Yeah.
It's not really they live there. That's you own the space and you're evicting them.
But if you look there's a lot of small alliances that do have iHubs. If you scroll in, you see
At the grace of Fire Coalition, though, right?
All right,
Those
let's be
aren't
real
really
though.
there.
yeah, so a bunch of
this.
small alliances are gonna like gonna go get iHubs by the grace of pain fam instead. Like I don't get.
Wait,
your
hold
point.
on, real quick, Jeremy. Are you trying to argue that no value, fucking Eastwind, and like already replaced, whoever the other one is, are small alliances?
I'm just arguing that they're the same as Horde. Not that they're better than Horde, just they're the same as Horde.
AARP is a small alliance. I don't know if you've talked to them recently.
Yeah, go to their space.
Wait. There's a very important question in Twitch chat for Jeremy.
Diva disbanded, so we didn't.
But were you allowed to keep the space when you were kicked out of Fire?
We didn't. We weren't an alliance. We didn't have any space. We were in part of Severance. Like I don't get what you're talking about here.
So where's the bait? What are you trying to bait him into saying that like Fireco isn't independent alliances?
If they don't want to be blue to the coalition anymore, they have to leave. He said it himself.
That's
Actually,
the narrative that has been going around, is that Horde is attacking a band of small alliances that are independent, and they're really not. They're really not.
But if they want to leave, then they have to
Jeremy,
get out.
is that your narrative right now?
I'm not saying that's their narrative. That's the narrative
That's like
been going
the
around.
narrative that's
yeah.
currently.
We are the United Fire States. Okay, it's literally like being
the USSR.
It's the USSR.
It really is.
I just want to point out.
Is.
I just want to point out though, already replaced has 1,164 members. That's a small alliance according to Jeremy.
Show me how many active characters they have. That's the important number. Is active characters.
But it says so. Hold on. So if they only have like I'm not actually checking it. I have to go to Zkill. If they only have like 30 active characters, then what does that say about them having that much space that they have? Why should other groups allow them to have that space if they're not active and can't hold it?
They have 63 actives right now.
Out of 1,100.
So why don't they come? So like that's. So you're asking like why should they be allowed to have that space if they're not using it properly, right?
I mean, but seriously though, like why should Horde or Goons or any other group give a fuck about them holding that space if they can't actually form up real numbers to defend it if they only have 63 active people? Why should the rest of the game let an AFK group sit there?
Well,
look at where.
See, that's the thing. It's not just attack it. Like it is attack it, right? But is it attack it with a small group, a small alliance that you want to grow and flourish, or is it attack it with 30,000 characters?
Listen,
I mean more in the general sense. I'm not talking.
Discord. Of course,
I'm not talking about specifically.
So look at where AARP lives. It's in a pocket in Amencia. You have to go through Nocturne. You have to go through, I don't know, very well hung alliance. I've literally never heard of these guys before.
They're fucking RC leftovers.
Yeah.
So
basically RC is acting as a doorstop. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, if it will be killed and attacked, it will be killed and attacked. So
But what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be the biggest alliance in the game doing it. If other small alliances want to get in there and flourish and grow and thrive, their first act should be to take it from them.
Technically, their first. Technically, their first act is they have to get XIX and Tafos to agree to let them settle because any group that has tried and recently has been the shit kicked out of them by XIX.
Right, because you can't. Commencey's jump ranges are within range of Curse, so like a small group could theoretically wage war there, but then the coalition would come and defend them.
That's how Big Ab kicked Legacy out. We just came in through Curse, we just threw Curse.
That's where.
I'm gonna guess that it's all one bat phone away from get the fuck out. Who are you?
There's Amelia, which has been living near in NPC. There's Asynchronous Warfare, shout out my boy Firefox. That's been doing real good. Like it's not like Fire can just Thanos snap any small gang that comes into its empire out of existence. Like it doesn't.
But none of those groups can. But none of those groups can actually establish proper presence in NPC
what are you talking
nullsec,
about?
though. Outside of NPC nullsec.
Guardians of Tranquility have literal Athenors in Scalding Pass. They have iHubs and TCUs in Scalding
Not
Pass.
for long.
No, not for more than a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah,
They are the independent group living in Firespace that we've heard about.
Yeah,
They don't even have an iHub. They just have a TCU. That's it.
They used
Actually,
to have an iHub.
The only fucking independent group in that area is B-Sod and that fucking dead end constellation that has been there for fucking ages. And
I'm down to give B-Sod all a Scalding Pass.
Well, I mean, but you're saying that people can't. You just said people can't do it. People obviously are. They're living within range of fire, and they're not being evicted, and they're not.
Jeremy, you can't evict somebody from NPC stations.
Well, they're not.
Let's be real. Guardians of Tranquility live in an NPC station in Curse.
Well, they have. Those people have Asher houses and there's
They have some citadels.
That shit's fucking content bait. That shit's content bait. They don't move assets there.
There's random small alliance citadels that live in like Scalding Pass that we've never cleared out or Innsmouth. Like, they're just people who just vibe there near, especially near Great Wildlands. They're just dudes who live there. We know, like, they're ants.
Just bros being bros.
The only ones in Scalding Pass is the bit of Guardians of Tranquility shit and B-Sod. That's it. Everything else has been cleared out by XIX and Fire and Severance and all them forming up proper fleets and purging it with 200 people.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking like.
Jeremy, I know this because I've spent the last week gating around there trying to pick a fight in a Vedmak or an Icky.
Based.
Same feeling here.
I mean, and here's the other thing, right? I was very big on helping Cockroach Coalition try to survive, and I even got to the point where Constantine was like, we're not gonna like attack them. Like, if you noticed during the last death throes of Cockroach Coalition, it literally wasn't us. It was just Amelia farming them.
Oh my gosh, why did Cockroach Coalition get that bad? Because they got the shit kicked out of them for a month beforehand by you guys.
What did we shoot? We shot some antiplexes. We did the BFL content strategy of shooting antiplexes. They, like, it wasn't. We weren't.
Yeah, but you
we
can't
weren't.
do that to like a brand new coalition.
They're not brand new. It's literally RC minus RMZ.
You guys did way more than just shoot their ANSIs. You guys killed a couple Fortizars and dread bombed them, I want to say 3 or 4 times.
Fragged a bunch of supers.
There was no irreplaceable losses inflicted to them. There were some good content fights. There were some times when they beat us and caused us to feed. And then when Amelia came in to farm them, I personally reached out to the leader of Cockroach Coalition and said, I will come third party if Amelia comes close enough where I can get a fleet over there.
I think Fire did show up once, then helped Amelia.
Well, we killed a Sigma fleet. And then that Amelia fleet just went home. Like, we literally
part of
shot
Cockroach Coalition, essentially. I mean,
Sigma's part of Imperium.
They're kind of both. Let's be real.
They can claim they're Imperium, but they're on Cockroach Coalition fleets all the time.
Why didn't Sigma come to help Cockroach Coalition?
Why didn't Sigma come to help you?
Sigma are not good allies, clearly.
Why didn't Sigma
Isn't Sigma just like crabbing in Paragon Soul now?
Yeah. They went from being the premier RC PvP alliance to just grabs.
Sigma is like actually probably one of the worst groups in the game right now in terms of literally.
I implore you to go look at the Peace Soul like NPC killed in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, why don't we get rid of Sigma Grindset? Why don't we just turn this war machine around and evict Sigma?
They're in Peace Soul.
They're in Paragon Soul. Nobody can get there.
Well, it's right next to Fae the Ballast. Apparently, people can get to Fae the Ballast just fine.
Have you?
It is not right next to Fae the Ballast. What are you smoking?
What do you mean? It's right there.
There's another whole region there.
And and a 10-8.
All right, wait, Redline. Zoom in on that image. Go back to that image.
There's a whole Esoteria in the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whole Esoteria.
Redline. Go back to the Sav image you were looking at.
There's a whole 5 gates in between Isadiri and Paragon Soul from the Fae the Ballast.
I want you to zoom in on what could possibly go wrong, Space.
Let's zoom out. All right, I'm zooming in. Hey, by the way, while I'm zooming in on this, do you guys want to play Wheel of Fortune?
No.
Yeah.
All right, now do you see how far the regional is from the Moonfire blob to fucking Peaceful?
It's right next door, though, bro. It's right next door. Don't you know?
That regional is longer than Impasse is wide.
3 mids. It's right there. Just 3 jumps. It's fine.
You can't actually jump across that regional. You have to take
you have to gate it.
Impossible.
That was the worst
You
part
have to gate it.
That's crazy.
Listen, here's what we do, all right? We deploy the furries and they'll take care of it.
What are they gonna take
Sanders
care of each other?
contracted.
Most
Don't
of them
worry.
can't even function
The
right.
Stain Wagon's taking care of it for us.
Yeah, where
Wagon.
was Stainwagon? Where's the love for Stainwagon? When the shoe's on the other foot, you know.
Bro, Stanwagon have been sit in the corner watching Amelia kick the shit out of Cockroach, jacking themselves off to the battle reports, loving life.
Well, all right, fair enough.
Also, whatever the fuck's going on between all the Chinese groups in Stain, I don't know what the fuck's going on down there.
We don't ask questions about Stain.
Stain.
Yeah,
I get through
Stain
Stain one
stays
time when I
Stain.
saw some really scary people. I've never been back there.
Yeah, it's a terrible place. Don't go there.
There are French people that live in Stain. That's all you need
There's
to know.
French people, there's
Romanians.
French, Russian, Romanians, Chinese.
We're gonna be exiled
Poles.
among our people.
It's a melting pot.
The true melting pot of Eve.
I saw
The
that there
statue of
was
Stainolby.
a rather large fight earlier today.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's between like a bunch of the Chinese like groups. I haven't seen a single person.
Oh,
know
are
what
you
the fuck
talking about
happened.
the Molten Heath bullshit?
No, the Stain one.
No, the Molten
Oh.
Heath bullshit.
The Molten Heath stuff was basically F tier Russian alliance, Batphone's F tier Russian alliance, and both sides just Batphone F tier Russian alliances, and they destroyed Brawl.
Trainwreck didn't batphone anybody. Mistake. number
Trainwreck
one.
Batphoned themselves and just fed.
Bruh, how the fuck did Parabellum show up that quick? Also, that was kind of funny. to
They
watch.
kind of live. I think they have actual doctrines just in Molten Heath to help Parallaxis.
So
This is why everyone hates them.
So is it fair to say that Stain is the wormhole space of known space?
I have
It's scary
received,
and no
I
one
have
goes
received
there.
a question from the audience.
No, because there's a
I
reason to go to wormhole space. You can make money there. Stain,
Stain's
why would you
just
ever go
terrible.
there?
Hold on. I have a question from the audience.
What's the question?
How did Frat used to get to Paragon Soul to attack people? Anyone
Didn't
wanna...
they unironically keep jump clones in Stain and jump clone to Stain to go fuck with people down there?
No, to eat the Paragon Soul.
When did Frat attack people?
When AOM was living down there during the war.
Yeah, they like deployed to Stain.
They deployed in Stain with jump clones and wormholes and.
They also
Yeah,
had a Titan Bridge in Frey the Ballast that they would use to get to Paragon Soul.
See,
Yeah, I'm not saying they couldn't sort like a.
They never went through Faith though. What are you talking about? They
Titan
came from
Bridge-
Stain.
They Titan Bridged out of Faith.
To where?
Well, I mean, this is a question from the audience that I've been provided the
I
answer
mean,
to.
from
But
Faith, even the 10 bridges across the regional, though.
No, they couldn't have because fucking they were attacking ESO. They were attacking shit at ESO. You can't Titan Bridge from Faith to ESO.
You can't. There's
So you can. Yeah, no. The closest I think you can get.
That's what Impasse is for.
Is
you
Impasse.
use Impasse. Okay, so they were blotting at Impasse. My bad.
And you can hit like 2 systems in SO.
Get 3 actually.
Okay, but this still doesn't make sense, Jeremy. You're
They just
fucking
lived-
idiotic.
I'm just reading the question from the audience. I don't actually know the answer to this.
The only part of Faith Abalis that matters is the part that links SO to Impasse. It's the only part.
I like the one good Sax iHub, by the way. Very pog.
I'm willing to bet because they were part of Pappy. They actually probably just bridged off a fucking test keep star in SO.
No, I think the test keeps were all either dead or transferred by that point. Test pulled up their shit.
No,
real
the fuck Billy, what was the others? DTAC P was SO, right?
Yeah, but Deepak B died. Like,
I think that was.
There was a
I
DTX.
think that died
There was
after,
DTX Keepstar too. I think that one got unanchored.
I think they were using the DTAC P keep star before it died.
I mean, the thing is it's fucking fraternity against AOM. It's almost like don't ask questions, just assume that they're gonna go to any length to fuck with each other because that's what those two groups do.
Whoever said Artak A, that's where AOM lived.
Yeah, that's correct.
Whew. That was a lot that y'all talked about all at once there. Just want you to know.
I'm willing to bet they were. I'm willing to bet they were
What was
actually
that?
bridging from like DTAC B.
I didn't follow a single thing.
You already think they had a fucking pos in there and they just left a Titan in there?
Well, I mean,
Just
they were
thinking
blue to test at
about
the
it?
time because everyone was living in Delve.
Well, and like who
Talking
would,
about
and like
after
who
the
was
war.
gonna shoot, and who would shoot their pass? Like,
I thought you were talking about after the war.
Oh, during the war, they were bullying the fuck out of AOM, even though both sides were technically on the same side, but they didn't like each other and they were shooting each other anyways.
You mean every other time when both of them showed up in Delve and like they'd spend half the fleet shooting each other?
Yes, we are all familiar with their delightful love for each
We
other.
did that. We had a BJK on one of our fleets in Big Gab, and I think it was not just. I think it wasn't Snuff. It might have been one of the Avthot people. Just all his Ewar and just permanooted BJK the entire fight, so he couldn't get on the kill.
What, Villy, you don't enjoy seeing AOM and Fraternity start shooting each other for no reason when you guys are all formed up to fight goons?
Yeah, their pettiness at times was delightful.
I remember in command comms when we would ask like Norlas how he had in his fleet, the reticuli would respond, and vice versa. Norlas would always report reticuli's fleet numbers.
But Norris had the better cat, so pick Frat, not AOM.
Norris is.
Well, we didn't pick either, right?
That was the catch.
We had both on paper.
Someone asked in
Also-
chat, why doesn't Horde invade Fraternity? Hello, CNTZ.
Yeah,
oh
allow me
boy,
to
that would
introduce
be
you to
so
this thing
much
called
fun.
time zone tanking.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean the thing is, people say that like, oh, they'll just time zone tank you, and it's like, as someone who ran a war against Fraternity, yes, they will time zone tank you, but it's by no means an impossible task, and the game is actually easier to attack a time zone tanked enemy now than it was back then.
I think that
You just deploy into their, if they're truly time zone tanked, you just deploy into their staging with your own keepstar or very nearby, and you sit on them and you make, if things are equal, then it's an interesting battle at the edges. And if it's not, then you just steamroll everything you can during your time zone. And, they spend all of their time zone fixing it. And how long can you keep that pressure up versus how long can they keep their defense up, right? It's a tough battle. As you're fighting, the ADMs fall. That means the edges fall deeper and deeper into interesting time zones. And, it's a.
Well, Billy, if I recall correctly, the number of times that you went on about the lovely 3 a.m. iHub timers was absolutely erroneous.
Yeah,
Number of times I what, sorry?
Went on about 3 a.m. iHub timers.
Yeah, I don't like those timers. Don't get me wrong, but like I'm not. It doesn't take away from the fact that it is doable. It's just not particularly fun.
Oh, never considered it not doable. It was. I
No,
actually
but
do
that's what I'm
recall
saying though,
some of
because
that.
many people seem to imply that fraternity is infinitely invincible because they're well time zone tanked, right? Because they're the largest Chinese group, but they're not invincible. But they are strong. There's no doubt
Oh,
about that.
we proved that. We proved that, but still.
And
mean-
oddly enough, they actually have a reasonable EU and US time zone now. So
Yeah, point taken.
Fraternity's not like unassailable. Oh, PH could never attack them, but does anybody really want to spend however many months slogging through AUTZ in 4 separate regions?
Yeah, let's just go beat up on fire instead. It's a lot more fun in our time zone.
I mean,
When
it,
you
it
look at the
actually
map,
would not destroy your sleep schedule. So yeah, it's a lot more doable for most people.
well, I mean, what I was about to say is when you look at the map now, where does it leave, right? After the war in the South, where do people go? Back to Pureblind?
It's called crop harvesting.
Created, right?
Crop
Yeah,
cycling.
crop cycling / crop harvesting is an old Eve specialty of Pandemic Legion. Was the original kind of one, but they always knew not to, kill the root, if I guess you could say, right? And it definitely feels like that's what we're going for here with this campaign, right? So I'm not sure if there'll be a new crop to be harvested in anytime soon. Let's say.
Billy, the South will rise again.
I was gonna say, are there groups to move in?
All I'm saying, there are now a total of 6 Anzablex routes in Fade and Pureblind. Like they are regrowing up there.
I mean, Brave was being kind of, I feel like, a pretty over dramatic with how defeated they claimed that they were.
Brave was very loud, especially when BFL was hitting no SOV structures, no iHubs, like really taking away the easiest way to troll someone, and the hardest thing to defend, and just not even touching it. It was like, They have no idea how different it could be. Let's say.
This
I
is
really
simply preparing Fire for the arc that they announced this year, where they're going to develop different transportation technology. We're going to be free of antiplexes, so we can easily transport to the next best thing.
Well, I mean, on a brighter note, I said this to Tafos. I think the day of start of this, it's like alliances are forged in the crucible of combat, like the good alliances, anyways, right? You have to face near death a couple times to really get a sense of who your true core alliances and members are. You have to get a sense of what you can really accomplish as a group, and that the only real way to see that is through hardship. And obviously, hardship is, a tried, tested, and true method of bonding people together. And certainly, if Fire stands through this, they will be a much stronger group for it. The member count might go from 20,000 down to 5,000, but they might be putting just as many people in fleet. They might be putting they might be stronger in terms of a combat sense, right? Um, what you get in Eve is a situation where just as often, uh, having the worst happen to you can be the best thing to happen to you. I know it's definitely I've seen it happen to alliances I've been in multiple times, and people remember the hard battles way more than they remember the easy battles, right? And people remember fighting uphill, and especially when you succeed, so much more. And it's just a more interesting game when you get that opportunity where it's your time zone, you're fighting from in the kind of asymmetrical warfare thing, and that leaves a lot of opportunities for people to have fun. So I don't know how this is all going to end. Obviously, there's a lot of small alliances that are in the south, and I don't think anyone here thinks that every single one of them is going to make it out of this alive. I think that would be incredibly naive to think. But I definitely think there will be absolutely a few of them who end up significantly stronger at the end. They may not end in the south. They may end up in the north, or in Pureblind, or in Providence, or in the Lowsec, or who knows where.
You
Great
simply, you
But they will
simply,
Fire
definitely be.
Coalition.
They will definitely have gone through a crucible, and they will know who their friends are. They will know who their brothers in arms, their fleet mates are, and they'll be a much stronger competent combat force.
you simply shed the dead weight, and you can consolidate into a smaller amount of space. And issues like this, it's a lot more defensible when you shed the dead weight, and you're considerably smaller in terms of sprawl.
It's like a forest
And
fire, you burn everything down and it all comes back.
Well, I mean, that's been the way for ages. I mean, going back a really, really long time ago, back when Red Alliance used to hold the entire southeast section, going from Omus all the way up through towards Amencia, and then they collapsed completely, and then rebuilt themselves again, and then of course got torn down again, and then yeah,
So all we're doing is we're helping them. So really, we're just helping Fires.
it's a
That's all I'm
cycle.
it's
hearing.
It is
Weight
literally a
Watchers
cycle.
Fire
That is
Edition.
how it's been.
I
Weight
don't know if
Watchers.
I would say
Jesus.
anybody is attempting to help anyone, but definitely, if Fire keeps the right mental mindset, they can definitely come out of this ahead.
Look, I don't think we're in any danger of disbanding. I think, like Billy said, we're gonna lose some people. I don't have any doubt about that. I already know a few people are probably I'd put my money on where they're gonna go away. But
Billy, we need you to not ruin the meme narrative though, because it's funnier.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just trying to be serious, right? Like I've been in their spot before, and it's a tough spot, and I've got a ton of sympathy for a lot of alliances in the Fire group. I worked with a lot of them over the years, and some of them are super stand-up guys. Um, I am just a corp CEO at this point, and I just do my thing. And I've also been in Goblin's shoes, and I understand how hard it is to make decisions, and how the picture that we see may not be the picture that he sees, and I trust his judgment in the end. Um, the decisions he makes are hard ones, and he's trying to guide an incredibly large beast, and it's tough, right? So we don't always get his perspective here, and certainly he's not going to come on here and waste his time like I always seem to have done with mine, which is perhaps a mistake, but the
Oh.
what?
Ouch.
No, it was definitely a mistake wasting my time here. But the reality is that the Fire Guys are good guys, and it's unfortunate how it's kind of went, in my opinion, for some of them. But this is Eve Online, and war is war, right? It's a
War
whole
is
other
hell.
order.
War is hell, but then again, according to some Roman historian, men grow more go tired of women and drink than they do of war. So hell,
Say that again, sorry.
it's men grow more tired of. Ah, shit! I had to look up the quote again. It was something that done by a Roman historian.
When you think about like the Robert E. Lee quote, it's like, it is good
Dude, he
that
said Roman historian.
oh Rome.
Roman historian Robert E.
Jeremy, what
Lee.
the fuck?
Jesus fucking Christ.
There's a quote like that that's from Robert E. It's like, it's good that war be so awful lest men grow fond of it or something like that. And we were talking about the South anyway, so my mind was there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm pretty
Sorry.
sure your
Men
mind
grow,
is
men grow tired of
convoluted.
sleep, love,
I
singing,
do
dancing
live in
sooner than
Dixie.
war.
We can tell,
Dun,
sadly.
dun,
There
da,
we
da,
go.
da, 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 da.
Redline, this show's gonna get canceled.
No, Jeremy's gonna get
It's been
canceled and do us
canceled
all
like
a favor.
3 times, dude. So earlier, Hycorian got a clip of Jeremy saying the South will rise again, and now he's probably got a clip of me saying this shit because I just said it
Oh
to say
god.
that.
That's not the first time I've said the South will rise again on this show either, and it's been clipped.
Yes, and that's the thing is that he provided the other clip as well. That another time that you had said it, and we're starting to notice a pattern here. So,
Perhaps next time we say it something like, the southern regions of EVE Online have an opportunity to restructure their alliances.
We gotta put it through the AI chat bot, we gotta have it rewrite it for us.
We can do that right now.
Please, no. That's how you get the AI chatbots are shut down for being racist.
Right. Okay.
You folks understand the implications of the things you're saying, and you're saying them anyways. So
because it's
funny.
A bit there.
Redline, I just clipped you saying it, so
I mean, my dude is comparing himself to Stalin out here. There's no
All
holds bar.
Now
Oh,
we've gone
Oh,
far
boy,
because
we
remember
don't need to go into
earlier
that
when
one
I
for
said
history.
like there's been a lot of real life like connections
Well,
and that they aren't necessary and we don't need to do those.
just hold on for a sec there, though. So I think it's important to understand, in the Russian context, Stalin is not necessarily some supervillain, right? He is often regarded as a strong leader in their historical past. So when Constantine says, he's Stalin or whatever, he's not saying that necessarily in a negative way. And funny enough, I remember Matani making the same jokes many times.
This is the first war I've seen people got really upset about comparing anything to like World War B. We were doing
Because
all
real life events have kind of made the context and the comparison hit a little bit too close to home for a lot of individuals.
That's for sure.
I think the Russian-Ukrainian war that everybody in the
Yeah.
world sees at the current time, and the fact that we now have a Russian alliance involved in a war, um, the connection between in-game and out-of-game is more blurred and less defined than it has ever been. And I think that makes people uncomfortable, and I feel like it rightly should. This is supposed to be a game to a lot of people, and every time people attempt to draw those things closer, it becomes more uncomfortable, because very rarely are people attempting to draw those things closer to draw positives, right? They're almost always doing so to do so in a negative way, to compare. Internet culture nowadays is, who can we compare to Hitler, right? And certainly, I don't think either parties in this would be that. And I think, comparisons to Stalin or anything else, it's just not a good thing to do. When Constantine does it in his mind, I think he's drawing it in a positive way, which makes it a very different kind of context. But I think both
Well,
sides should always endeavor to keep the historical context and
Well,
the
when
real
it comes to
languages
that
out of it as
specifically,
much as
Billy, though,
possible.
when it comes to that specifically, then as far as I'm concerned, just leave some of the historical context out of it and reference here, because unfortunately, with the world that we live in, that people, whether you're on one side or another, will take offense to whether they compare, or will let's play devil's advocate here, where you say that, oh yes, because I am Russian, that I jokingly here say I praise Stalin, he was my hero, and then actually from my own perspective, unfortunately he was someone to
I
detest.
would like to point out everyone's here getting offended on behalf of the Russians when a Russian CEO of a very large XIX corporation posts about Gobin's special military operation to anime Faye the Ballas.
I mean, that's a sounds like a good reason to me that they animate it.
It's a special military operation. Like the Russians have
Yeah.
no like. It's everyone getting offended on behalf of the Russians, and I, as a member of XIX Death and thus an honorary Russian, I got the Duolingo course going, boys. You know.
Jeremy, this is not exactly.
Having worked with Russians for a while, my understanding is that their culture is even more able to make the sour jokes than most. And I definitely agree that people getting offended on behalf of Russians is unnecessary, but that definitely doesn't mean it's going to stop.
Right.
If we really want to try and set a standard, or if we want to try and make a point, I think the point to make is just to understand and to continue to reaffirm this is a game and people are playing it for fun. And this is going to continue. Like, people are going to make bad analogies, but just don't do them in bad faith. Don't do them to attack your opponent. Focus on the merit and metal of the statements they say, and don't try to turn your enemy into a figure that they are not. I think that is the best way to approach it overall.
I'd say that's a pretty fair assessment. As you stated earlier, this is a game. This is not something where we're taking, um, unless you were get Gex, and even that was maybe lighthearted to an extent. I don't know.
I don't know, when you threaten to cut somebody's hands off IRL, I don't think that's lighthearted anymore. That man was gonna inflict Sharia law.
The problem with the CCP banned GigX because he made explicit threats to a member in his corporation in in-game chat. The funny and more depressing part of that is that there had been a conversation that GigX had beforehand about a member in his local country, I believe, about going to their house and because they had been suspected to be a spy or they had corp stolen something. And nobody had blinked twice when he had said it at that point, right? You know, this person's a spy. We're going to go check up on his house. And at that point, nobody had really done anything about it. And it took until, he said something in game, in chat, where people really went, why is CCP banning this guy? He's such a good content creator. And nobody really looked past the reality of the situation, is that this is kind of fucked up, right?
Taking it way too seriously.
You know, I'm not going to talk about my concern. I've talked about my concerns before in terms of real life harassment through larger context when you get these massive groups of people who are incredibly fervent about their in-game stuff. But just focus on keeping it a game. I think is the focus you really want to push more than anything.
Absolutely. Passion is passion for the game is one thing. Taking too seriously is quite another.
Well, I think
Put it
those are some
simply.
great points to end the show on. What do you guys think?
Actually, Redline, hold on. Have you
Yes.
talked about the ESI fuck up?
I have not. But what I am gonna do, because I do want to talk about the ESI fuck up, is that I'm also gonna stream at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Just to talk about the ESI stuff. So I'm so sorry, Gamma. As the time went on, I really wanted to talk about it, but I wanted to make sure that I gave it enough time because it deserves quite a bit of time, to be honest. It's a pretty massive fuck up. So it'll either be tomorrow or Thursday, and then I'm also gonna do the Wheel of Fortune stream someday this week. Find out. Make sure you follow the channel so you see it. We're gonna raid Drax, and you guys, if you have any final thoughts for the chat, now's the time to share them.
Well, since we have people in both, good luck to everybody participating in this skirmish or war, whatever you want to call it, and Enjoy it.
Best Friends Legion, more like big friggin' losers. Am I right?
I love bashing. I love it. I just
I
can't
heard-
wait to
oh,
bash
you're on
more
top of it.
Athenors.
Bashing forever, Legion.
People should undock more and fight nano shit. Just
Wait,
go fight roaming. Go roaming and go fight roamers.
Bring the fun stuff, Jeremy. Bring in the fun stuff.
I mean, Asher, what could be more fun than bashing Athenors? Nothing, that's what.
Watching paint dry, eating glass, rubbing dirt in my eyelids.
I mean,
putting worms in my ears.
I mean,
Literally, I would rather
Raid
just
already. What the
die.
fuck, Redline?
Redline,
Sniffing cactus quills.
Redline, I'm just gonna say it, but like
I
half of those
really
are
hate shooting
like, I'm
structures.
just letting you know.
What?
So depending on who you ask, half of those things that you listed are a kink.
Snuggling a porcupine's butt.
What? Of course, the furry's the one who talks about shit
Okay,
being
that
a
was.
kink.
That
God,
involves
I hate
animals
Anyways,
as well.
team, we're out. See ya in a couple days, probably Thursday, same time.
Trash Talk Thursday.
Trash Talk Thursday coming back.
Triage talk.
TTTH.